Are you wondering if someone you know has an anxious attachment style, or if you yourself have an anxious attachment style? Then this video is for you. In this video, I'll go over a list of signs that probably mean you have an anxious attachment style. Sign number 1, you have a constant need for reassurance. It's really difficult for you to validate yourself, and you're always looking for other people to validate you and reassure you. In a relationship, it may, for example, look like you constantly asking your partner, do you still love me? Is there something wrong? Or how are you feeling? Is everything okay? Okay, it's like you can't just be in the relationship and relax into it. You're constantly worried about something going wrong, and you can't find that peace and centeredness within yourself. Sign number 2, you fear abandonment more than anything else. It is bigger than just a little bit fear of abandonment. It is completely all-consuming, and you'll basically do anything not to be abandoned. You'll even abandon yourself not to be abandoned by your partner or by the people you love. So that means you are probably a people pleaser, and you will really make sure that the people around you always feel happy and content, because that's the way that you stay emotionally safe in relationships. Sign number 3, you are hypervigilant, and you are so aware. Whenever there's the slightest, smallest change in your partner's behavior, you notice it immediately, and then you have to get to the bottom of it. What is wrong? Why didn't they respond to my text? Did I say something? Did I do something? Again, this all-consuming fear of rejection and abandonment, and you doing something wrong, and the need for reassurance. Sign number 4, you overthink constantly, and you overanalyze every single situation, even situations that aren't necessarily where it wouldn't be necessary to overanalyze. You do so, and again, you do so in an effort to stay emotionally safe in your relationships, because you don't feel emotionally safe in your relationships. You have an underlying fear. That's why it's called anxious attachment, because you have underlying anxiety all the time, and you're trying to soothe this anxiety through the people around you instead of soothing it from within. So you'll find yourself ruminating, overthinking, wondering, questioning, reading about relationships online, reading about your partner's potential attachment style online. It's very typical that people with anxious attachment, they end up with people who have avoidant attachment. And that's a very unfortunate mix of attachment styles, because the avoidant will feel like the avoidant abandons you because they retreat into themselves, and you'll probably be online searching, Googling, maybe even talking to professionals to try and get yourself regulated. It's much more common for us professionals. I'm a relationship coach who work with people with these different difficulties. It's much more common that anxious attachment style people will seek help, whereas people with an avoidant attachment style, they usually don't go out there and seek help. They'll do it themselves, or maybe at the end of the day their partner will force them to get help, and that's when they'll reach out to someone like me. But people with anxious attachment style, they're very good at seeking help. They go to therapy, they go to relationship coaches, and they listen to podcasts. Like, they're very proactive. Sign number 5, jealousy and insecurity. So jealousy, it's not a pretty feeling. It's not a nice feeling. It's an awful feeling. But if you have this attachment style, then I'm sure you're very familiar with the feeling, because you feel very insecure. And because of your constant need of reassurance and your hypervigilance, you will immediately notice when your partner is having fun with someone else, or when your partner is behaving in a slightly different way in front of someone else. Like, you'll overanalyze that situation too. I'm not saying maybe your partner is doing something inappropriate. I don't know, right? But even if they aren't, you'll feel jealous and you'll feel inferior, because there is also a problem with self-esteem and self-worth when it comes to this attachment style, and we'll get to that. Sign number 6 is a difficulty with boundaries. So when your partner, I mean, first of all, of course, you have difficulties setting boundaries yourself because you're a major people pleaser. But you also have a difficult time with your partner setting boundaries, and you see it as the ultimate rejection. Like, let's say your partner wants just like an afternoon by themselves, or they just want to sit and read a book and not talk to you for a moment, or they just normal, very normal things. You'll immediately interpret this as abandonment. You'll go to the worst case scenario. They don't love me anymore. They don't want to be with me anymore. They're pushing me away, even though these behaviors are quite normal and it doesn't mean anything. And at the end of the day, it's you're the one who's hurting. And now sign number 7. That's what I talked about before, which is the low self-esteem, the low self-worth. Because you have this low self-esteem and low self-worth, you do not feel worthy of your partner often, and that's why you feel like they're eventually going to leave you, and this anxiety can really take over. So something you really need to work on if you have this attachment style is that you have to really work on your self-worth and your self-esteem. You have to build a core within yourself where you can learn to self-soothe, where you can learn to reassure yourself, where you can learn to stand strong no matter whether the person you're with is going to abandon you or not. Like, you got this. You know, you have to get to that place within yourself. It's not easy, but you can definitely get there, especially since you're probably someone, like I said, who's very proactive and seeking help. So seek help from a professional. You're welcome to come work with me. There's a link in my description, in the description here below. Because this is an important part of healing anxious attachment style, is the self-worth issue. You'll also experience a lot less jealousy once you have worked on your self-esteem. Sign number 8, clinginess and needy behavior. Okay, and just to give you an example here, it can, for example, be in a texting scenario where you have texted your partner and they don't respond immediately. You get stressed out, even though there's absolutely nothing wrong, everything is absolutely fine, but you get totally stressed out and you start texting them. What's wrong? Where are you? You start calling them. They're not responding. Maybe they were in a meeting. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there's absolutely nothing wrong, but you completely lose it. And that's the clinginess. And it's really a turn off for your partner. It's something you have to work on, because anyone who has an attachment style other than the anxious attachment style will not like this long term. Other people with anxious attachment, they might find it endearing and sweet because they can empathize with having this anxiousness and having those feelings, but someone with a healthy attachment style, someone with an avoidant attachment style, and often someone with a fearful avoidant attachment style, they're not going to like it. They'll forgive you once or twice, but at the end of the day, it's going to make them pull away even more when you start becoming clingy. And if you have anxious attachment, I know that you know what I'm talking about. And it feels even worse when you just know you shouldn't be sending those 7 text messages. You know you shouldn't have called 12 times, but you did it anyway, and it didn't yield any results. It actually made the other person irritated and pull away even more. Sign number 9 is that you don't handle rejection very well, and you have a strong fear of conflict. You're actually pretty emotionally intelligent due to your hypervigilance compared to, for example, the avoidant, but you don't like conflict because you're afraid that it's going to lead to the ultimate abandonment. So you try to avoid it at all costs. And here we're back to this people-pleasing behavior. So you'll people please. You'll make sure that the other person is comfortable, because then they'll never leave you, right? If there's never going to be any fighting, then they'll never leave you. But it can also go in the other direction. Anxious people, they can also tend to make a lot of drama when they're dysregulated. So in a way, you'll stay emotionally safe by avoiding drama, but on the other hand, you are pretty dysregulated and you don't know how to re-regulate your own emotions. So when you are out of balance, you'll create huge drama, and sometimes you'll act out, you'll punish your partner, you'll it's like a tit for tat situation. Sometimes if they hurt you, then you'll hurt them. You can end up anxious. People with anxious attachment can end up hurting their partners a lot when they are so dysregulated. And sometimes especially if it's an avoidant, they'll sit back and be like, what just happened? Like they don't even understand. But yeah, you're very emotionally intelligent. Maybe you even call yourself an empath, or you have a high level of empathy. And this is very connected to hypervigilance. Like I said, because in order to stay emotionally safe around other people, you have to have the antennas out to feel, how are they doing right now? How should I be behaving not to create drama, not to make them leave me? So it's something that you've developed over the span of a lifetime, probably. All in all, if you have an anxious attachment style, then you have a strong desire to connect with other people and for closeness. But at the same time, it's coming from a place of fear, and it's coming from a place where you feel like you can't do it on your own, like you're completely dependent on other people, and you can't be by some anxious people, they can't even be by themselves. Let me know if you could recognize yourself in these signs and symptoms in the comments below. I'm very interested to hear how many of you resonate with this. I hope this video was helpful and informative. If you have questions, you're also welcome to write them below in the comments. And if you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel for more. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.